Labubu, labu-who? And why is every toddler to tween basically around the world begging their parents to buy them what is essentially a keychain? Unless you've been living under a rock without a cell phone. Because let's be for real, the idea of being stuck under a rock with a cell phone doesn't sound particularly torturous to me. It sounds more like a break. Just me, my cell phone, endless hours of doom scrolling, no children screaming for help in the background. Sounds like a holiday that rocks. See what I did there? Okay, don't click off. I promise this is not clickbait. We're getting back to the Labubus. So as I was saying, unless you've been living under a rock, you've probably come across these creepy humanoid creatures all over the internet. Honestly, this thing looks like if Tim Burton and Build-A-Bear had a love child. And why has everyone decided that that is exactly what they need that's been missing from their lives all this while? People have been going crazy, fighting each other over collecting these characters, purchasing what we know as blind boxes so that they can collect the entire series or collection. And the craze is not limited to adults who are free to spend their hard-earned money on whatever stupid shit they please. But kids are being caught up in the frenzy too. All this is leading parents to wonder, what the heck are Labubus? Where did it originate from? Are they child-friendly? And should I let my child start a hobby collecting blind box purchases? Well, sit down and strap in, elder millennials, because class is in session. I'm going to dive into the history of Labubus. Where did they originate from? How did they rise to cult status? Are they child-friendly? And what are the things that you and I as a parent can consider when letting our child buy blind boxes? Hi, I'm Nita. I like talking about womanhood, motherhood, the zeitgeist, literally anything that's on my mind. So if you want to watch a brown, aging millennial mom give my opinion that nobody has asked for on any number of things, then welcome. Let's start with some background, or as the kids would say, let's unbox the Labubu phenomenon. So what even is a Labubu? According to Wikipedia, Labubu is a brand of collectible plush toy monster elves created by Hong Kong-Belgian designer Ka Zing Lang. The toys are marketed and sold exclusively by China-based retailer PopMart. The design of this part forest creature, part deranged Furby was influenced by Nordic folklore and mythology that Ka Zing Lang was exposed to as a child growing up in the Netherlands. Although PopMart markets and sells these creatures as toys, part of the allure is that you can carry them as a fashion accessory. The Labubus are essentially keychains, or as the kids are calling them, bag charms, and you can attach them to your purse, your belt, your bag, loop, etc. These bag charms have become a fashion statement and a way for young people to signal to each other that they are with the times or cool. And it's also an expression of personal identity. Although, how you can have a unique personal identity when you're all buying the same toy is a little confusing to me. Someone explain it down in the comments. It's like when I was 15 and all of my friends and we'd collect these little pin badges that would have all the names of our favorite bands, or they'd say vaguely rebellious things like anarchy, F the police, and we'd pin them all over our backpacks to signal to the other children that, hey, we're not to be messed with. We are the one. We were not the one. I was not the one. The only difference is that those pins were like $1 and we could actually see what we were buying when we were buying them. Like, why is everything today so purposefully expensive and wasteful? It's like these giant corporations, they all sit down together at their board meetings and they tell each other, the goal here is to make the most expensive, most wasteful item that we could possibly come up with. Is it just me? I don't get it. There are different series or collections of Labubus. By 2025, more than 300 Labubu characters had been released. Just recently, in June of this year, a 4-foot-tall mint green Labubu was auctioned off for a whopping $170,000. Yes, you heard that right, $170,000. The medium-sized Labubus are the most popular, and the last three series, Exciting Macaron, Have a Seat, and Big Into Energy, was so highly anticipated that when they launched, they drew tens of thousands of visitors to PopMart's website, and in one case, due to high volume of traffic, crashed the site. Part of the thrill of collecting Labubus, apart from the fact that it actually looks kind of like it's going to wake up in the middle of the night and attack you in your sleep, is that you never know which one you're going to get in your blind box. Alright, so this definition is taken directly from PopMart's website, because where better to get the definition of a blind box than from the source, right? So there is a section on PopMart's website called Blind Box Rules, and there are 2 bullet points on the page. Let's read them together. Blind box refers to the type of packaging that keeps the collectible toy a mystery until it is opened. Blind boxes typically come in series that show a collection. Some figurines are rarer to find than others. Second point, a whole box contains no repeated figures. If there is a secret figure in the box, one basic figure will be randomly replaced by it. PopMart, you need to hire a copywriter, because that verbal spaghetti was confusing. So what does that mean? It basically means that blind boxes are a toy lottery. You typically buy a sealed box and you have no idea which character you're going to get. You just know that that character will belong to a particular series or collection. It could be a common character or a rare secret character that's more coveted. You can also buy a whole box of blind boxes. So essentially what that does is that you get every single character in the series except for that rare or secret figure. That is still left up to chance. Therefore, when you buy a Labubu blind box, you don't know which character you're going to get. Each series contains a secret or rare figure, and you have a 1 in 72 chance of unboxing one of those in your blind box. Once you've understood that buying blind boxes is akin to playing in the lottery, you begin to understand why this hobby is so addictive to young people. There's the thrill and the dopamine hit that you get when you first purchase the box. It's like scratch cards. Maybe you just win $1, but maybe, just maybe, you win $1,000. In this case, maybe the next box that you open contains that rare secret Labubu figure you've been on the hunt from, in which case you instantly get promoted to demigod status in the eyes of your peers. And that brings us to the next reason kids are clamoring for these toys today. They are a form of social currency. Remember the good old days when kids would show off their Tamagotchis or their Pokemon playing cards? Or I know, how about Game Boys? If you had the latest Game Boy model, that was the pre-teen equivalent of having an American Express black card. It's the same thing with these toys. They aren't cheap. Blind boxes start from tens of dollars and run up into the hundreds. Having multiple Labubus or entire collections, that is a signal of wealth and status in the eyes of these children. The third point is related to the second point in terms of it being about validation. Blind boxes provide the opportunity to create unboxing content and content showing their entire collections. It's basically a way to get attention and clout. Kids aren't just playing with these toys, or rather, they're not even playing with these toys. They are simply curating them. So, should you be worried? Like with most things in the world, I think collecting Labubus or blind boxes, it's not inherently bad and it's not entirely wholesome. The truth of it probably lies somewhere in the middle. The answer is probably, as it usually is with things like this, a matter of moderation. So before we either condemn Labubus and blind boxes as a whole, or rush to the store to buy our kids an entire box or entire series or collection, let's take a moment to just think about the good and the bad that can arise from a child participating in this hobby. Let's start with the positives. I think if you have a structure in place around how your child earns their labubu, perhaps they do a fortnight's worth of extra chores, or they forego a cheaper weekly treat in exchange for one labubu once a month, then it can teach them delayed gratification. You could also teach them about budgeting and saving money. Like I said, these toys aren't cheap, and instead of just outright buying them their labubu, perhaps this could be a lesson and a way for them to learn how to budget out their allowance, save a portion of it, and then spend that saving on a labubu bag charm. In addition to teaching them to save money, you're also teaching them to buy things intentionally and not create in the participation of, unnecessary waste. One day, the landfills of the world are going to be filled with thousands upon thousands of unwanted Labubu dolls. And do we really want that? And for those of you who are swearing up and down that these collectibles will hold their value, I refer you back to the Beanie Baby craze of the 90s. Those people were swearing up and down that their Beanie Babies would be worth a fortune today. I'm not saying that all Labubu dolls will be worthless. I'm sure that mint green collectible will be worth something in the future. But the majority of these will be forgotten and discarded. Lastly, in a world where it feels increasingly difficult to connect with our children, maybe this could be a way for you to bond with your child, especially if the idea of collecting Labubus sounds appealing to you as well. You could turn it into a monthly ritual. Each month you could have a special or fancy dinner with that child, then bring them out after the meal to the store where you select your blind box, head back home and unbox it together. Sounds kind of cozy, I'll admit. So those are some of the upsides to letting your child buy Labubus or any other blind boxes. But what about some of the potential risk? Is there anything harmful that could come about from participating in the blind box culture? Firstly, like I mentioned, these aren't Happy Meal toys. They are far from free, and left unchecked, this hobby could hit your bank account pretty hard. I think it encourages an attitude towards money that I find pretty unsettling. It also encourages an attitude of, if I get or if I receive a present and it's not 100% the thing that I want, I get to just purchase presents until I get the toy that I wanted. I don't know what you think about that, but to me it sounds like that could lead to children who grow up to make unwise financial decisions. Moreover, blind boxes tap into the mechanics of gambling. That just one more mentality, it's real and it is a slippery, slippery slope. I don't think blind boxes have been around long enough for any official studies to draw a correlation, but it's not too far of a stretch to hypothesize that becoming addicted to buying blind boxes could be a sort of gateway into trying other gambling activities. And lastly, it is yet another thing that is telling our young people and the younger generation that signaling wealth and status and getting external validation is more important than what's going on with you in reality and making good financial decisions. But those are my thoughts on Labubus and blind boxes in general. Those little creatures might look evil, but they're not necessarily so if we just regulate and monitor our children's relationship with the hobby. Now, the next time your child says, "Mom, Dad, I want a Labubu," you'll know what they're talking about. Or maybe you'll be buying one alongside them. If you liked this video, you found it informative, or just good to play in the background while you run the vacuum, then do all the things. Or if that's too much effort, then just do this one thing and leave me a comment down below. Firstly, because I am genuinely interested in what your thoughts are about blind boxes, labubus, or anything else that's on your mind. And secondly, because it does help my channel. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one. Probably drowning in unopened Labubu blind boxes. Bye!